Welcome to English Podcast. Subscribe our channel for more update.
Ever catch yourself wondering what truly separates those who just, get by from those who seem to effortlessly build financial security?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you've even thought, what's the real secret to wealth?
It's a question that hangs in the air for so many people, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It can feel like some people have a magic touch, or maybe that wealth is this incredibly complex, puzzle.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack for you today.
Right.
We've taken a really insightful conversation between two individuals, Sam and Anna,
Right.
where they kind of cut through the noise and laid out some fundamental ideas about building wealth. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding what really matters.
Yeah, our mission here is to pull out the most valuable nuggets from their discussion, the actionable steps, and the mindset shifts, the things that can provide a clearer path to financial well-being, no matter where you are right now.
Exactly.
What was so effective about Sam and Anna's exchange was how, grounded and easy to grasp their points were.
Absolutely. And they kick things off by tackling a really crucial point. What is wealth anyway? Because it's like more than just a bank balance with a lot of zeros, right?
Exactly right. Anna's definition really shifted the perspective. She described wealth not just as piles of money, but more as a form of freedom.
Freedom. Interesting.
Yeah, freedom. It's about having choices and control over your time and your options in life. Less about just accumulating stuff, material possessions.
That really reframes it, doesn't it? It's less about chasing some big number and more about building a life with genuine flexibility. It's a far cry from that basic idea of just having a lot of money.
Precisely. And that freedom, that wealth, as Anna defined it, it has a surprisingly simple starting point.
Yep.
Consistently spending less than you earn.
Okay, let's really dig into this because, on the surface, that sounds almost ridiculously obvious.
Right. Easy to say.
But if it's so simple, why do so many people find it such a challenge?
Well, it's the gap between knowing and doing, isn't it? Life has a way of throwing expenses our way, and sometimes it just feels like you're constantly trying to catch up. But Anna really hammered home the fundamental need to save.
Okay.
What's fascinating is how even a seemingly small percentage saved consistently can, really add up over time.
And she used a great concrete example for this, didn't she? Something about saving just a small bit of monthly income.
She did, yeah. She showed that if you earn, say, $1,000 each month,
okay,
and you consistently save just 10%, that's $100, you'd have $1,200 tucked away after just a single year.
Wow, okay.
Now think about that over 5 years. That's $6,000, and that's without even factoring in any kind of investment growth.
Right.
It really highlights the power of just consistency. Consistent saving, even at what feels like a modest rate, can be pretty substantial.
It's like planting a small seed that, gradually grows into something significant.
Exactly.
So if saving more than we spend is the bedrock, what are some practical ways we can actually make that happen day to day?
Well, that's where the concept of budgeting becomes essential. The budget.
Yeah. Anna described a budget as essentially a roadmap for your money. It's about making conscious decisions about where your money goes rather than just letting it sort of flow out without much thought.
And the idea of tracking every dollar, that might sound a bit intense for some people. Is it really necessary?
It can be incredibly eye-opening, honestly. By diligently tracking your spending, whether you use a simple notebook or, a budgeting app, you gain this crystal clear picture of where your money is actually going.
Okay.
That awareness is the crucial first step towards gaining control and identifying areas where you might be able to save more effectively. You can't really adjust your course if you don't know where you're headed, right?
That makes perfect sense. You've got to know where the money's going before you can redirect it. Now, a major hurdle for many on this path. Debt?
Oh, yeah. Big one.
How did Sam and Anna address that?
They both totally agreed that stopping the accumulation of new debt is absolutely paramount.
Right. Stop digging the hole deeper. Exactly. If you're constantly taking on more obligations, it's like trying to climb a ladder while someone else is, pulling you down.
Yeah, it feels like you're constantly running in place. So, once you've stopped adding to the pile, what's the best way to tackle the existing debt?
The next critical step is to actively and, aggressively pay down that existing debt.
Okay.
Anna rightly pointed out that debt essentially acts as a drain on your financial resources. The interest you pay, that's money that could otherwise be saved and invested for your future.
And she mentioned a specific strategy for tackling debt, the avalanche method. Can you walk us through how that works?
Sure, yeah. The avalanche method is a strategic approach. You prioritize paying off the debt that has the highest interest rate first.
Highest rate first, okay.
While you just make the minimum payments on all your other debts, the logic is, by attacking the most expensive debt first, you minimize the total amount of interest you pay over the long term.
Makes sense.
This frees up more money sooner, which you can then roll onto the next highest interest debt and eventually towards building wealth.
Okay, so we've got saving, budgeting, tackling debt strategically. What comes next? This is often where people feel like, now it gets complicated.
Right, the investing part. This is where the power of investing really comes into focus.
Yeah.
Anna explained that investing is the primary engine for significant long-term growth of your money, far outpacing what you'd typically see in a standard savings account.
Investing definitely carries this perception of being inherently risky, or maybe only for people who really know what they're doing. How did Anna address those concerns?
Well, she acknowledged that the idea of risk is understandable, totally. However, she emphasized that with education and a long-term perspective, investing can become considerably less daunting. Her key message was really just start small and learn as you go.
Start small. How small?
She even suggested that getting started with as little as, say, $50 a month in something straightforward like an index fund can be incredibly powerful over time.
An index fund. Okay, that's a term that gets thrown around a lot. Can you break that down for someone who might be hearing it for the first time? What is that?
Absolutely. Anna explained it pretty clearly. An index fund is essentially a collection of stocks. Think of it like a prepackaged basket of shares from many different companies.
Okay, a basket.
Yeah, often tracking a specific market index, like the S&P 500 you hear about. Because your investment is spread across a wide range of companies, it inherently carries less risk than putting all your money into just one single stock.
Diversification.
Exactly. That diversification makes it a really suitable starting point for beginners. And the potential for growth over the long term, say 10, 20 years, it can be quite substantial.
That's really demystifying, actually. So it's not about trying to pick the next hot stock.
No, not at all.
But rather consistent, small investments in a diversified fund over time. Now, building wealth sounds like a marathon, not a sprint.
Definitely a marathon.
How do we maintain that momentum and stay on track?
That's where the emphasis shifts from those initial actions, like setting up a budget, to cultivating sustainable, long-term habits.
Okay.
Anna made a great point that wealth isn't typically built through one lucky break, It's built through the accumulation of small, consistent actions performed over time, day in, day out.
What kind of daily or weekly habits are we talking about here? Like, give me some examples.
Sure. She gave some really practical ones, making it a habit to save a portion of your income every single month, like clockwork.
Right.
Dedicating even a small amount of time each week to learn more about personal finance, whether it's reading a book or, listening to something informative.
Like this.
Hopefully. And maybe most importantly, staying consistent with your overall financial plan. She really underscored that consistency trumps trying to time the market or find some secret formula.
That's a really empowering idea, actually. It puts the control firmly in our hands.
Yeah.
And speaking of control, Anna also touched on the psychological side of money or mindset.
Yes, huge. She highlighted the profound impact of our underlying beliefs about money.
Beliefs like?
Well, things like harboring beliefs that you'll never be rich or that money is inherently bad or evil or something. Those kinds of beliefs can create these invisible barriers to your financial progress. If you subconsciously hold those views, you might unknowingly sabotage your own efforts to build wealth.
It's like having a hidden handbrake on your financial progress, isn't it?
That's a great way to put it. Exactly. Anna stressed the importance of cultivating a belief in your own ability to learn, to grow, and to ultimately achieve financial well-being.
Okay.
She likened mindset to a map that guides your financial decisions. If your internal map tells you that wealth is unattainable, you're far less likely to take the necessary steps to get there.
That's a powerful analogy, a map. So we've covered the practical foundations: saving, budgeting, debt, investing, and the crucial mindset. What are some of the common missteps or pitfalls that can derail this whole wealth-building journey?
Right, the things to avoid. Anna outlines several key mistakes she often sees. The first, and perhaps the most fundamental, is simply spending more money than you actually earn.
Back to square one.
Pretty much. It creates that perpetual cycle of living paycheck to paycheck and just prevents any opportunity to save or invest.
That circles right back to the importance of having that clear budget, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
What were some other common pitfalls she identified?
Another significant mistake is failing to build an emergency fund.
Yes, the rainy day fund.
Exactly. Life inevitably throws unexpected expenses. Our way car breaks down, medical bill.
Yeah.
And without a financial safety net, you might be forced to take on high-interest debt to cover those emergencies, which can really set you back.
Okay, what else?
She also cautioned against the temptation of trying to get rich quickly.
The shiny objects.
Yeah, those schemes. It often leads to impulsive and high-risk financial decisions that, frankly, rarely pan out. And a surprisingly common mistake is simply ignoring your finances altogether.
Sticking your head in the sand.
Pretty much. Pretending the numbers don't exist doesn't make the challenges disappear, unfortunately.
Those all resonate. And there was one more that she mentioned that I think a lot of people can probably relate to. The I'll start later mentality.
Yes. She specifically highlighted the danger of procrastination, that feeling of, oh, I'll get to it next month, or when things are less busy, or when I have a bigger paycheck. It often translates into never actually starting, and time is such a critical element in building wealth, particularly with compounding and investing.
Right. Compounding needs time.
It absolutely does. So delaying your start, even by just a few years, can have a really significant impact on your long-term results. It's huge.
Okay, so steer clear of those pitfalls.
Gotcha.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Now, bringing it all together, what were Anna's most actionable, memorable pieces of advice for our listeners? The key takeaways.
She provided a really concise and impactful list, actually. First, she strongly recommended making continuous learning about personal finance a priority.
Keep learning.
Yep. Reading books, listening to reliable sources, staying informed. Second, She suggested automating your savings as much as possible. Set up those automatic transfers.
Make it easy.
Make it automatic, out of sight, out of mind. Her third key tip was to start investing early, even if it's with small amounts, to let the power of compounding work its magic over time.
Start early, start small.
Exactly. Fourth, she reiterated the importance of avoiding unnecessary debt. Just keep hammering that point.
Avoid debt.
Fifth, she stressed the need for unwavering consistency in all these habits, showing up month after month.
Consistency.
And finally, she emphasized the crucial role of believing in your own potential for a secure financial future. That mindset piece again.
Those are some really solid practical steps that really anyone can begin implementing today, couldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that final point about believing in your financial future, it really ties everything back to the power of mindsets, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It's kind of the underlying motivation, the fuel that keeps you going through any financial headwinds or setbacks.
Yeah.
And Anna's final thought was a really insightful one. Building wealth isn't about achieving some overnight transformation or, striving for immediate perfection.
Right.
But rather about making small, consistent improvements day after day, little by little.
So, to summarize our deep dive into this conversation between Sam and Anna, it seems like building wealth isn't some secret club or, a matter of pure luck.
Precisely. As their discussion highlighted so well, it's a journey. It's paved with consistent effort, informed financial decisions, and a positive and growth-oriented way of thinking about money.
So for you listening right now, maybe take a moment to consider, which of these fundamental principles really resonates most with you right now at this point in your life?
Yeah, what hits home?
And maybe, what's one small, concrete action you can commit to taking, maybe even today, to begin building a more secure financial future?
Just one thing.
Remember, this is a process. It unfolds gradually, one step at a time.